would always have a piece of his Romeo inside it. After tearing the ninja world a new asshole, Dinky 8 balls of doomer.
One of its leading Shinigami was...
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Khan, and if you've seen the title of the video, you already know what we're going to be talking about. We're essentially going to be debunking Death Battles Madara vs Aizen video. Disclaimer for this video, I'm more so going to be talking about the Aizen part of this video because I don't really care about the Madara part, but I will bring up Madara sometimes and what they say about Madara and his win cons against Aizen, of course. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you've already watched the Aizen vs Madara death battle that they put out, but if you haven't, I recommend that you should watch that video. But if you don't want to and want to save some brain cells, that's perfectly fine with me. Now, the video as a whole wasn't really that bad, but of course there was a couple things, actually a good amount of things that I had a problem with. What I'm about to talk about is nothing major, but I did want to bring this up. When they talk about Aizen, they introduce him and say that he's the Soul Reaper that stood upon the heavens, when in reality he has never stood upon the heavens. That was one of his goals, yes, but he never accomplished that goal. He was defeated by Ichigo Kurosaki and Kisuke before he could even make it to the Ryoku, which is where Ryo resides. It's Death Battle. I'm not surprised that they fucked up Aizen's narrative at all, bro. Whenever they make a Naruto vs Bleach video, you already know who's gonna win, especially when that one dude started hyperventilating just by talking about Madara's backstory. You can already get a sense of who is gonna win at that moment, right? You can it's pretty odd. They started scaling off with Madara. They scale him to around the FTL in speed, and also they scale him around planetary with his tree feet, which is fine. I didn't really see any problems with the methods they used. They start off Aizen's part by saying Shinigami can't be seen by normal humans without Ryatsu, but then they go on to say Shinigami can be interacted with and are tangible, implying that they think Shinigami can be physically interacted with, which is just wrong. In the Viz translation, Rukia specifically states that normal humans can't touch, see, or hear Shinigami or hollows. Only things with Ryoku or soul manipulation can interact with a Shinigami. They then go on to state that Kurohitsuge is Aizen's strongest Kido, which I'm appalled by. Aizen literally has the ability to use Hado 99, and they mentioned that in their video, and Hados are ranked according to their strength. So how they think Hado 90 is stronger than Hado 99 is beyond me. One thing I want to quickly go over, and I will talk about later, is Kyoka Suigetsu. Kyoka Suigetsu is not just regular illusions. It's complete and absolute hypnosis over the 5 senses, if not 6, because it also affects Shinigami's spiritual sensing as well. Hypnosis is a state of being. You can still see through a regular illusion like going through a mirror maze, while hypnosis affects your entire body, including your mind and the way you perceive things. Illusions are not affecting the way you perceive, but the fact that you perceive them in a certain way. The complete hypnosis of Kyoka Suigetsu is absolutely flawless. Even if under the slim chance the target is aware of being under the hypnosis, they can't resist its influence. There's absolutely nothing they can do to break out of it. Now, I'm not trying to say no limits fallacies. Obviously, there will be characters that could possibly break out of Kyoka Suigetsu, but that's all I'm gonna say for now. I'll talk about it more later. They mentioned the Hogyoku and some of its abilities, but they fail to mention that the Hogyoku makes Aizen have Type 3 and Type 8 immortality. Type 3 immortality is immortality via regeneration. Type 8 immortality is reliant immortality. A character gets benefited by one or more types of immortality as long as they have a certain being, object, or place that grant them those benefits. In Aizen's place, it's the Hogyoku, but I digress. One thing I am happy they did is bring up the Soken Ryo and how he was passively holding the dimensions together, but they fuck it up by assuming the dimensions are only the size of the earth, and their reasoning for this is because the souls reside on earth, therefore the realms are only earth size and the Soken is only affecting the earth. The problem with this is just because a majority of these souls reside on the planet does not mean the entire size of the dimension is that said planet. Us humans reside on earth, but the universe which we live in is almost infinitely larger than the earth. Another problem is the fact that Kubo deliberately states that the Garganta surrounds these dimensions and the Donga connects the Soul Society and the Order of the Living. The Garganta is an empty black void of nothing but raging Rishi particles. If it's true that each dimension was only the size of a planet, then outside of these planets would be an empty black void and not stars, moons, galaxies, etc. Assuming the dimensions are only planets is just a contradiction to Kubo's cosmology, because then the entirety of outer space being outside of the dimension doesn't make sense. Even when looking at the image of Earth in outer space, the thought occurs to you that that doesn't even make sense. How can the Soken only be affecting this planet, and how can U-Haul only be destroying these planets when there's multiple celestial objects around? It's not like these dimensions reside in the same universe, because they're separated by the Garganta, which has its own time flow in space-time. So how would U-Haul somehow enter the Garganta, go through these stars and only attack the Earth and break the boundary of the Earth, and somehow combine them together is completely nonsensical. I know it's fiction, so anything's possible, but the main part of what I'm saying is it's just a blatant contradiction to Kubo's cosmology. But I understand though, for this matchup, Death Battle is trying to make sure they're relatively relative, and it is what it is. Death Battle somehow talks about the meteorite feat, but don't talk about the galaxy feat. Grammy in that same fight was able to create a structure that is at least multi-galaxy in size due to having shown 3 galaxies in that structure. And before people start to say, oh, he only created a portal to an already existing universe, well, nowhere is that stated. Rather, in the novels, it stated verbatim that Grammy instantaneously created outer space, not that he created a portal. I don't know how much they want people to spell it out. They also state he materialized outer space as well. I'm pretty sure if he only created a portal or some kind of opening, then they would have alluded to the fact that he only created a portal, especially in the novels. Now, just imagine if a character like Kage was able to do that same feat. Now, that's a world I don't want to live in. Another thing I want to mention about Aizen's AP is that his AoE, which means area of effect, is crazy. In Thousand Year Blower, while in the chair with seals that restrict how far his Ryatsu can move, Aizen was going to shoot down the Soaking Palace with his Ryatsu alone like a Dragon Ball Ki Blast cannon. There are multiple ways to calculate the distance between the Soaking Palace and the Serite. Ichigo stated it would take him around half a day while traveling at full speed with possibly a mix of Shunpo, Sonido, and Rigor Light. And in Bleach, Shunpo is arguably above or relative to combat speed. Now, like Death Battle themselves state, Ichigo at that point should be around light speed. So if you would, calculate the distance something moving at light speed can move in 9 to 12 hours. Something moving at light speed for 12 hours gives you a distance of 12 trillion, 951 billion, 34 million, 185,000, 600.002 meters. That's just a little something I wanted to bring up. That's how far his AoE can be while restricted. Talk less of when he's not. And before people start saying, what if Ichigo got tired while he was flying down to the Serite and for some reason stopped flying even though there's a whole entire world going on which he's late for. Ichigo says he can ride a machine that's meant to fully drain his Ryatsu for an entire week. And additionally, he was able to fight Zangetsu for a month straight in the Dangai. Moving on to their speed part, they use the like lightning statement. It's a simile. It does not have to mean he's moving at lightning speed at that point. Alright, Death Battle thinks Aizen quote-unquote succumbed to his insecurity, meaning Aizen lost the Hogyoku. But Aizen never lost the Hogyoku. It was actually stated in one of the novels, The Beginning of the Revival of Tomorrow, that Aizen had an existing Hogyoku within him. That was why one of the Stern Raiders was thinking of taking it from him. So no, Aizen still has the Hogyoku. For some reason, they talk about how Aizen matched Yall in battle, but don't talk about how Yall was going to destroy these dimensions, and I'll let that slide. Now let's talk about why Death Battle thinks Madara beats Aizen. They say because Madara faked died twice, he beats Aizen because he only did it once. I hope that's a joke. They bring up how the true Seeking Orbs can nullify Minato's regeneration jutsu, so therefore the same thing would happen to Aizen. Aizen's regeneration due to the Hogyoku is not the same as a regeneration jutsu. The true Seeking Orbs being able to cut spiritual beings is a normal day of the week for any Shinigami, happens on a daily basis. 90% of the verse has the ability to cut souls. It's nothing special. The reason why Minato couldn't regenerate from getting hit by the true Seeking Orbs is because they nullify ninjutsu, which includes the regenerative qualities of Imperial Word reincarnation, making it possible to permanently damage and kill those reincarnated by the technique. It's never been shown to be able to stop the regeneration of an immortal character like Aizen, because like I said before, Aizen's regeneration and immortality comes through the Hogyoku, which literally just grants wishes, so a little orb is not stopping that fact. The entire reason why Aizen is sealed in Mugen and not executed is because he's immortal. Even though the Shinigami who deal with souls on a regular basis and have thousands of years of research, nothing can kill Aizen. There are things like the Hogyoku, which vaporizes the soul, Hado 54, which eradicates the very existence of its target. There's Yamamoto's Bankai, which can blow away anything it touches without a trace. There's Quincy, who can erase the existence of souls, etc. All of those abilities, and none of them can kill Aizen or stop his regeneration. And they think the true Seeker Orbs, which are complete fodder in comparison to the abilities I just mentioned, are going to do anything to Aizen. Molecularly dissolving spiritual beings is the same thing against Bankai did. With the Hogyoku, Aizen would still come back to life and become even stronger. So even if Madara was able to damage Aizen with the true Seeking Orbs and somehow kill him, Aizen would continuously evolve and evolve and evolve until he becomes this multiversal being that transcends everything in existence or something. Now let's talk about Kyoka Suigetsu versus Genjutsu. People like to say, oh, Aizen's Kyoka Suigetsu only works in Bleach because no one in the verse has resistance to illusions. Well, no one in the Naruto verse has shown resistance to Kyoka Suigetsu either, because Kyoka Suigetsu is not a Genjutsu. Nor does it work the same as a Genjutsu. Kyoka Suigetsu, like I said before, is a flawless hypnosis, and even when you know you're under it, there isn't anything you can do. It gives Aizen complete control over the senses of all who sees it for an eternity. The only way for it to get dispelled is if Aizen chooses to dispel it. A Genjutsu is created when a ninja controls the chakra flow of a target's cerebral nervous system, and thereby affecting their 5 senses. They use this to create false images or trick the body into believing it has experienced physical pain. In the anime, it states that Genjutsu affects actively throughout a certain structure of the brain. However, things like ants lack such structure to the brain, and because of that, they do not even notice it, which goes to show one of the main differences between Genjutsu and Kyoka Suigetsu. Genjutsu's main function relies on the structure of the brain, which is why ants can't be affected, while Kyoka Suigetsu has nothing to do with the function of the brain. Not to mention, almost all Genjutsus has counters to it. By disrupting one's chakra flow, a character can break out of a Genjutsu. Aizen, due to being a Shinigami, his Ryatsu can rapidly change during battle, so by simply flexing his Ryatsu, he interrupts the flow of chakra, where his Sanpaku spirit could help him break out of Genjutsu, as shown when the Jinjuriki used a tail beast to do the same. Additionally, Aizen also has the Hogyoku, which can change his Ryatsu flow at any point in time and adhere to his wishes, allowing him to break out of a Genjutsu. Immense pain can also help you break out, which can happen when Aizen evolves. As seen when he evolves to his monster form, it's pretty gruesome. If the caster of Genjutsu can't see or vision is impaired, then the ocular Genjutsu can't be used. Any character with detailed vision can recognize flaws in the Genjutsu, and a whole lot more weaknesses. Almost all of these weaknesses simply just doesn't exist with Kyoka Suigetsu. Kyoka Suigetsu literally controls the very senses themselves. It feeds the senses whatever information it wants, and its effects can last for thousands of years, and even more. Mental fortitude or illusion resistance cannot counter Kyoka Suigetsu because it doesn't have anything to do with your brain, mind, or cranial nerves. Quite literally, the only way to break out of a Kyoka Suigetsu while it being already activated is to get rid of all your senses and gain new ones, which who knows if that would work, because Kyoka Suigetsu also affects your spiritual nature as well. Additionally, there are more problems with the fact that a Genjutsu might not even be able to be activated against a Shinigami, talk less of Aizen. When you look at the chakra flow chart from Naruto, you see that the chakra flows all over the body, including the brain, which is where Genjutsu chakra is implemented. When you look at the Ryatsu flow chart, all you see is that Ryatsu emits from their Ryoku in their soul and emits through their hands to their Zapato, which is why Shinigami has spiritual vents in the hand. So the question comes up as to whether or not Shinigami could even be affected by a Genjutsu. Another thing I want to bring up is the fact that one of the most powerful Genjutsus in the Narutoverse, the Infinite Tsukiyomi, can't work on souls like the Ito Tensei, so it's possible it wouldn't even work on Aizen. The Tsukiyomi does not control time and space, but one's perception of time and space. When used on Kakashi, he felt like he was being stabbed over and over for a week, but it was only a few seconds. That's due to his cognitive and sensory awareness being completely hijacked by the Genjutsu. I first want to mention that Kyoka Suigetsu has shown effects to the perception of time, but during the final battle, Kyoka Suigetsu was shown to affect yall, who had its almighty activated. This yall is capable of seeing all infinite amount of possible futures that can occur in the universe. Kyoka Suigetsu was capable of affecting every single one of those timelines, to the point where yall did not see a single timeline where he thought Aizen was using Kyoka Suigetsu or was able to break out of Kyoka. When you really break it down, this feat is astonishing because Aizen was able to create flawless illusions in each one of those features at the same time, while simultaneously fighting this god tier being and expending huge amounts of Ryatsu while using high level Harus like Haru 99 without an incantation. I'm not gonna lie, this feat is arguably greater than any Genjutsu I've seen performed by Madara. No Genjutsu has been shown to measure up against a being who is seen as essentially omnipotent with the ultimate sense of precognition. Deathbattle says that because Unohana was able to notice something was up with Aizen's body, Madara would be able to break out of Aizen's delusions. When you look at Unohana's resume, she's an over 1,000-year-old Shinigami that has almost 1,000 years worth of experience healing people. She also did a multi-hour autopsy on the damn corpse to inspect every intricate detail, and even then, she was only able to suspect that Aizen had faked his death. She had no suspicion of being under an illusion until Aizen broke it, and even then it's possible that Aizen purposely made it seem that the body was fake so that Unohana could find out, because when she enters the building, Aizen is like, it's about time you came, it took you long enough. So the only instance when somebody was able to notice anything, they didn't suspect they were under a delusion, and it's possible that Aizen purposely wanted them to suspect something was up. So in reality, Madara really doesn't have a way to figure out he's under hypnosis. Even if he finds something's up, he has no reason to believe he's under an illusion, and by the time he finds out, it would be too late. Let's say he did find out he was under an illusion. Then what? He can't break out of Kyoka Suigetsu because the ability is not the same as a Genjutsu, and as Aizen states himself, Kyoka Suigetsu works even when you know you're under an illusion, so there isn't really anything he can do. So it's not looking good in the Wincon department for Madara. As soon as the fight begins, Madara would be affected by the Kyoka Suigetsu just by looking at Aizen. During the entire fight, Madara would have no reason to suspect he's under hypnosis. Even if he did, there is no way to break out of it. The true secret orbs could possibly damage Aizen, but Aizen does have regeneration and is immortal and continuously gets stronger. I don't know what to say anymore, man. This battle is and should have been a stop if properly researched. So, in conclusion, Aizen is the GOAT. Do the cool,
drip room off that room, and I'm hyped in a bitch like a dream.
Ooh, and my glasses prescribed like lean. Ooh, I'll make them disappear like steam. Ooh, and the kush protein like beans. Ooh, on her face marshmallow whipped cream.
Yo, before I go, I do want to let y'all know I do have the Aizen versus Madara animation coming out soon. And by soon, I mean 2008. Just stay tuned for that, man. If you want, make sure to subscribe to my Patreon. This will be the most objective outcome for Aizen versus Madara. A little spoiler though, this video does only last for 0.01 seconds because that's how long it will take Aizen this time. Now for real, I hope y'all enjoyed this video and I'll see y'all later.
Oh!
What's wrong, Kay?
When I came down,
I said we don't have the capacity.